cutting boards. Stick around to find out why. Hi there, and thanks for checking us out. If this is your first time here, I strongly recommend going back and watching episode number 1. There'll be a link in the description below. It's not only important to understand what I'm doing, but why I'm doing it. Because if you don't understand the why, you're only getting half the picture. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about cutting boards, trays, and desk organizers. It's the second stream of income that I'm going to try to develop to generate a little bit of extra income for me and my family. Now, it seems that in every woodworker's journey, there comes a point where they build a cutting board. They require a different set of skills, they're fun to do, and allow you to be creative in many different ways. So I, like every other woodworker, built myself some cutting boards. This was just before last Christmas. I built them, and I put them up on Etsy just to see if they would sell, and lo and behold, they did. Now, also around Christmas, my wife went out and bought these 5 pillar candles that she wanted to put out on our coffee table. And she bought this little plastic tray for them to sit on. And the plastic tray looked okay, but I thought to myself, I can build something that looks better than that. So I did. I really liked the way that it turned out, and I gave it to her as an early Christmas present. But the thing I enjoyed about doing the tray and the cutting boards is they're not something that you need to spend hours upon hours upon hours doing. In fact, you can only work on them for half an hour or 45 minutes before you have to let some glue dry or some epoxy set or a finish cure or whatever. So it has to be done in stages. Now, coming up with 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 consecutive hours to sit down and make something can be difficult, but I can find a half-hour chunk here or a half-hour chunk there to come out and do the next step of whatever it is that I'm going to be building when it comes to the cutting boards and the trays and those sorts of things. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sort of find these little pockets of time where I can build a number of these things and get them up on Etsy for sale. Now, in terms of the cost for building a cutting board, that's a little bit tricky. The amount of time that goes into a cutting board can vary greatly. The materials that you use can change the cost significantly, and depending on whether it's just a straight wood cutting board or you have other elements like epoxy or strips woven through it, also change the cost. So instead of looking at it from a cost perspective, I'm going to sort of look at it from a what the market will bear kind of perspective. And looking on Etsy, there's cutting boards on there that sell anywhere from 40 or 50 bucks all the way into the hundreds, literally $200 or $300. I'm going to be shooting for probably more around the 80 or 90 or maybe up to 100 depending on the kind of boards that I'm selling. But that's sort of going to be the target price for what I'm looking to do. I know at that price I can cover my costs, cover my time, and I'll have to spend some time figuring out how much money I'm actually making when I do it that way. That may change in the future. I might have to change my pricing or my structure or whatever the case may be, but I need a place to start. Now, as I said, I've already built a number of boards, and I'm going to put those up for sale on Etsy, and they're all different. But I think what I'm going to have to do is sort of settle on 2 or 3 different styles of boards so that I can build them in batches to be more efficient in terms of the use of my time and maximize my profit or how much money I earn per hour, just like I was going to do with the sheds. Instead of building 100 different sheds of different sizes and having to figure everything out every time, I narrowed the sheds down to 3 different sizes that I'm going to build that accommodate sort of the 3 different sizes of garbage bins people have around where I live. The cutting boards are going to be the same. I'm going to narrow it down to 2 or 3 different styles, and then I can build them in batches, which is going to save me time, and therefore the less time I spend making one, the more money I make when I actually sell it. I'm going to try and market these in several different ways, and the 2 most obvious ones that come to mind are going to be Etsy and Facebook. I would like to actually go and do some craft shows, but because of COVID, everything is shut down and I just can't go to craft shows, so that's not going to be an option for now. But Etsy and Facebook to start, I'm going to see if I can't find some other avenues to market and sell my boards at the same time as those 2. The other thought I had about these cutting boards and desk organizers and trays is that they might be a little bit seasonal and sell especially well around sort of big holidays, maybe Mother's Day and Christmas and those sorts of things. And I kind of thought to myself, maybe what I should do with this, and I'm not sure I'm going to do this yet, but is throughout the year sort of spend time stockpiling cutting boards and trays and those sorts of things for sale around the big holidays. Spend my money advertising when people are more likely looking to buy. This has the advantage of spreading out the income that I'm trying to generate over the whole year. As we talked about in episode 2 with the sheds, that's going to be a very seasonal business. So I'm sort of looking at this portion as sort of filling in the gaps around that seasonality so that I've got some income spread out over the whole year. So that's my thoughts. That's what I'm going to try and do with the cutting boards and the desk organizers and the trays. So if you think any of that's going to sound interesting or useful to you, I invite you to click the like button below and the subscribe button, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks very much. Have a great week.